Chapter 2047. Would the two junior sisters like to accompany me? As Lin Moyu expected, the Copper Lizard clan did not know when to retreat. In their bones, fighting was the primary element. If it weren't for the human race being too powerful, the Copper Lizard clan would have attacked long ago. In fact, for nearly 100,000 years, the Copper Lizard clan had been continuously fighting with the surrounding small races. They lacked wisdom and were naturally belligerent. At the same time, the Copper Lizard clan harbored hatred for the human race. Back then, Xiao Zhantian's counterattack nearly wiped them out. Lin Moyu no longer considered the possibility of the Copper Lizard clan letting him go. This possibility was less than 1 in 10,000. Just a day later, the Copper Lizard clan came again, full of killing intent. The previous team was just an appetizer. This time, not many came, only about 100, but they were all strong. There were more than 10 high-ranking God Sovereigns among them. 2 of them had reached the 9th stage of the God Sovereign realm. With the Copper Lizard clan's innate abilities, they could be considered peak God Sovereigns. However, in Lin Moyu's perception, they were still somewhat inferior to Zhu Qiwu of the past. Lin Moyu sighed and looked at Qing Fei and Shui Zhilan.
It's impolite not to reciprocate. After this battle, I plan to take a stroll in the Copper Lizard clan's territory. Would the 2 junior sisters like to accompany me?
Shui Zhilan said.
We'll follow senior brother Lin's lead.
Qing Fei said.
It would be nice to see the scenery in the Copper Lizard clan's territory.
The 2 readily agreed with Lin Moyu's idea. A surge of immense power came, and the God Sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan swung their weapons, conjuring countless clubs in the starry sky, aiming to smash Lin Moyu and his warship to pieces. Lin Moyu smiled slightly and pointed lightly towards the starry sky. The Death Dragon Knight Legion moved out, with the Legion rulers at the forefront, swinging their war blades and shattering the club illusions. Then the Death Dragon Knights charged madly, pouncing on the various God Sovereigns. Lin Moyu directly summoned 10 Death Dragon Knight Legions, 1,000,000 Death Dragon Knights, each with the combat power of a 7th stage God Sovereign, creating an overwhelming momentum. The Death Dragon Knights launched their charge, their speed instantly reaching the limit, far surpassing the speed of light, and directly killing the Copper Lizard clan's God Sovereigns. The God Sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan were stunned. They were supposed to gang up on Lin Moyu, but in the blink of an eye, the situation reversed. They retreated frantically, but the Death Dragon Knights pursued relentlessly. In the charge, the Death Dragon Knights instantly surpassed the Copper Lizard clan's God Sovereigns, surrounding them. The faces of the Copper Lizard clan's God Sovereigns turned extremely ugly, and fear appeared in their eyes.
How can there be so many puppets? Each one is equivalent to a high-ranking God Sovereign. How can we fight this?
Suddenly, someone realized.
I know who he is. It's him, it's Lin Moyu.
At the mention of Lin Moyu's name, all the God Sovereigns' faces changed. They had certainly heard of this name, too familiar with it. In the past 100 years, if anyone in the human race was the most famous, it was Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's deeds had spread across all races, almost becoming a legend. Everyone knew Lin Moyu was very strong, invincible at the same level, and could even fight across levels. However, very few knew just how strong Lin Moyu was. The God Sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan naturally didn't know, but now they had some idea. Lin Moyu, only at the 2nd stage of the God Sovereign realm, could summon 1,000,000 high-ranking God Sovereign puppets. How could they fight this? Screams echoed, and as soon as the battle began, some God Sovereigns were already dead. Those at the 3rd and 4th stages of the God Sovereign realm had no power to fight back against the Death Dragon Knights. Several peak God Sovereigns swung their clubs, smashing countless Death Dragon Knights. With each swing, hundreds of Death Dragon Knights were shattered. There was still a significant gap between the 7th and 9th stages of the God Sovereign realm. Even the Legion rulers couldn't withstand them. However, the shattered Death Dragon Knights revived in less than a second. The 9th stage God Sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan moved through the battlefield, rescuing their kin and pulling them behind. The high-ranking God Sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan pulled their companions behind them, forming a circle to resist Lin Moyu's Death Dragon Knights. The Legion rulers swung their war blades, killing their way in repeatedly, but were stubbornly blocked. The Copper Lizard clan emitted a bronze glow, and the light intertwined, forming a giant golden ball in the starry sky. The god sovereigns of the Copper Lizard clan formed a battle formation, and a massive golden lizard warrior appeared in the void. Lin Moyu watched with a hint of disdain.
Summoning their ancestors?
The golden lizard warrior, 10,000 meters tall, swung a giant club, sweeping the starry sky and instantly killing nearly 10,000 Death Dragon Knights. This golden lizard warrior's combat power was very close to the other shore realm, almost reaching the half-step other shore level. Lin Moyu flicked his finger, and the undying flames exploded in the starry sky, splitting into 5. The skeleton thrones appeared, and 5 skeleton kings quickly charged out. Also, at the 9th stage of the God-Sovereign realm, the skeleton kings were stronger than the Copper Lizard clan. 5 bone swords swung simultaneously, slashing the gods. Sword light flashed, and the golden lizard warrior was instantly engulfed by the sword slashes. The 10,000-meter-tall skeleton kings took 2 steps forward, and in an instant, thousands of sword strikes landed, annihilating the golden lizard warrior on the spot. The battle formation was broken, and the faces of the Copper Lizard clan's god sovereigns changed drastically. They knew they had no chance of survival. They had completely underestimated Lin Moyu's combat power. The bone hell reappeared, and countless hell fiends rushed out, ready to feast. A violent aura surged, and a god sovereign rushed out of the battle formation, preparing to self-destruct. Lin Moyu sneered disdainfully.
No chance.
He pointed, and red light enveloped the starry sky. White star level spell. Time curse. Time accelerated 1,000-fold, and all damage erupted in a short time. The soul was attacked, and the self-destructing aura was instantly extinguished. In the next second, a 10-million-meter large eye appeared in the starry sky. The eye gazed coldly and mercilessly, ready to launch a soul attack at any moment. The undead gaze might not be enough to kill, but it was excellent for interrupting self-destruction and controlling the battlefield. After doing all this, Lin Moyu stopped. He knew the battle was over from this moment. Unless the god sovereigns had some heaven-defying treasures, they couldn't survive.
I wonder if the bone hell can upgrade again after this play.
Lin Moyu thought to himself, wondering if it would work, depending on the outcome of the play. In the Divine City, the Rune Saint Sovereign received the latest news.
Little friend Lin has appeared in the Copper Lizard clan's star domain.
The Heavenly Saint Sovereign smiled.
He finally escaped the space rift. Is anyone with him?
The Rune Saint Sovereign shook his head.
No more specific information.
The Heavenly Saint Sovereign said,
The Copper Lizard clan is not far away. Let old Sha go and bring little friend Lin back.
The Copper Lizard clan is different from the demon race. They have no Saint Sovereign, only one at the other shore realm. The Heavenly Saint Sovereign knew Lin Moyu's strength and was not worried about his safety. An other shore realm expert would find it hard to kill Lin Moyu and might even be killed by him. There was no need to send a large army. Just sending the killing Saint Sovereign would be enough. As he spoke, the Heavenly Saint Sovereign had already sent a message to the killing Saint Sovereign, who quickly responded and took action. The Heavenly Saint Sovereign said,
All right, old Sha is on his way.
The Rune Saint Sovereign nodded.
This space rift appeared suddenly and disappeared after a few days. Several people from the War God Temple entered and didn't come out. We can ask little friend Lin about the situation inside. No rush. We can ask slowly after he returns.
2048. Chapter 2048. Courtesy demands reciprocity. Lin Moyu piloted the damaged warship, continuing to navigate through the starry sky. He changed direction, no longer heading towards the human star domain, but instead towards the nearest star system of the Copper Lizard clan. The star system of the Copper Lizard clan emitted a bronze glow. Even the stars were different from those in the human domain. Shui Jilan observed from afar.
It's really strange. How can there be bronze-colored stars?
Qing Fei also found it odd.
It is indeed peculiar.
Their confusion was understandable, but Lin Moyu knew the reason clearly. He explained slowly.
It's not that the stars are strange, but that there is a formation outside the stars. The Copper Lizard clan is not skilled in formations, but there is one exception. This formation is inherited in their bloodline and is called the Copper Light Formation. This formation can collect the light of the stars and convert it into materials needed for the Copper Lizard clan's cultivation.
Shui Jilan and Qing Fei suddenly understood.
No wonder.
Qing Fei added.
It seems every race has its own characteristics.
Lin Moyu said.
Indeed, each race has its own characteristics. Unfortunately, they are not smart enough.
He was referring to events from ancient times. At that time, their world's origin had already merged with the Great World, and they were all on the same boat as the Great World. The humans in the Great World were the captains and crew, while they were just passengers. As a result, these passengers thought about killing the captain and crew. They didn't understand that if the captain and crew died, the ship would sink, and the passengers would also perish. So Lin Moyu said they were not smart enough. Of course, there were some smart ones like the Butterfly Clan, but such smart races were too few, countable on one hand. As the warship approached the star system, Lin Moyu said softly,
They should be here.
As his words fell, countless white lights suddenly lit up in the starry sky. Immediately, a star exploded, creating brilliant fireworks. Powerful auras rose, and the strong members of the Copper Lizard clan began to counterattack. But these counterattacks were quickly extinguished, having no effect. In front of the warship, the skeleton generals had already charged ahead. Lin Moyu had said,
Courtesy demands reciprocity.
Since they wouldn't let him leave, he decided not to leave and to have some fun in their territory. By the time the warship truly entered the star system, the battle was already over. Not a single member of the Copper Lizard clan in this star system was left alive. When Lin Moyu made a move, it was to exterminate the entire clan, leaving no future troubles. Lin Moyu felt a slight force of karma, but it was minimal.
Indeed, killing them all results in less karma. As long as I kill thoroughly enough, no karma will be generated.
The copper light formation outside the star was extinguished, and the star's color returned to normal. Without the copper light formation, the star was still a star with no difference. The warship skimmed past the resource planet. The Copper Lizard clan did not need many additional resources for cultivation. What they needed most was the material converted by the copper light formation. These resource planets were almost untouched with abundant resources.
Perhaps these planets can all be taken back.
In the human race's plan, they would take action against some small and medium-sized races one by one, avenging themselves and taking all their resources. According to the predictions of the Star Elder, to survive the Great World's nirvana, a vast amount of resources was needed. Lin Moyu had no objection to this. Even though he knew the Great World could not undergo nirvana, he might need these resources to repair the Great World runes. Resources were never too much. The more, the better. 1,000,000 skeleton generals and a Death Dragon Knight Legion left the star system, heading towards another nearby star system. Lin Moyu had deployed a total of 100 million skeleton generals and 100 Death Dragon Knight Legions. Each group of 1,000,000 skeleton generals and 1 Death Dragon Knight Legion was sent to attack different star systems of the Copper Lizard clan. While the Copper Lizard clan was still thinking about how to deal with Lin Moyu, he had already started his counterattack. In the coming days, the Copper Lizard clan would fall into a nightmare. In the center of the Copper Lizard clan's territory, there was an enormous star. Outside the star, the copper light formation continued to operate, gathering the star's power to form a material called copper light essence, which was needed for the Copper Lizard clan's cultivation. Outside the copper light formation, a palace shaped like a lizard floated in the starry sky. Angry roars emanated from the palace, turning into shockwaves that twisted space. The star was affected, spewing countless flames, as if it too was roaring in anger. The voice of the Copper Lizard King came from the Lizard Palace.
Lin Moyu, I will kill you and grind you into dust.
The previously stationary lizard palace began to fly, accelerating rapidly towards Lin Moyu's direction. After 2 failed attempts to intercept Lin Moyu, resulting in the loss of 100,000 troops and over 100 god sovereigns, the Copper Lizard King was furious. He never expected that, instead of leaving, Lin Moyu had started a counterattack. One undead army after another invaded various star systems, leaving no survivors. In the past 2 days, he had received numerous reports that dozens of star systems had been destroyed, and billions of his people had died. His anger was beyond words, and the entire Copper Lizard clan was mobilized as if facing the greatest crisis. Even god sovereigns in seclusion had interrupted their cultivation to support various star systems. However, whether the support would be effective was still uncertain. After all, the number of god sovereigns in the Copper Lizard clan was limited, and facing the undead army felt like a drop in the bucket. Even if peak god sovereigns were deployed, if the numbers were insufficient, it would still be difficult to stop the disaster. The Copper Lizard King knew that only by killing Lin Moyu could he stop all this. Peak god sovereigns had died at Lin Moyu's hands, and now only he himself could deal with Lin Moyu. Although the Copper Lizard King was furious, he had not lost his reason. He did not forget to seek help from the Pegasus clan. He knew that if he failed to kill Lin Moyu, the Copper Lizard clan would suffer immense losses. At this moment, if he could get help from the Pegasus clan, it might reduce some of the losses. The warship flew through the starry sky, and at this moment, Lin Moyu was the only one on board. Qing Fei, Shui Zhilan, and some injured individuals had been left on a resource planet. An undead army protected them, ensuring their safety. Lin Moyu knew he had caused a big commotion, and the Copper Lizard King would likely come to deal with him personally. Facing an other shore realm expert, Lin Moyu knew he had to give his all and might not be able to take care of Qing Fei and the others. For safety's sake, he had them stay away from the battle. The warship deliberately moved away from the star system, choosing an empty void in the starry sky. Lin Moyu did not want the battle to destroy the star system, as he considered the resource planets within it to be human property and did not want them damaged.
They should be here soon.
Lin Moyu sat in the warship, leisurely drinking tea. He had been waiting for half a day, and by his calculations, the Copper Lizard King should arrive soon. Just as this thought crossed his mind, a powerful aura rose from the distance. The aura was like a blazing sun, impossible to look at directly. A lizard palace, entirely bronze-colored and 10,000 meters long, flew rapidly through the starry sky. 2049. Chapter 2049. You might as well flee with your entire clan. The Copper Lizard King arrived, bringing his palace with him. Lin Moyu raised an eyebrow. He hadn't seen the Copper Lizard King yet, but he sensed a hint of danger from the palace. This entirely bronze palace exuded an ancient aura, heavy with the weight of ages. Lin Moyu immediately determined that this palace was from ancient times. A palace preserved from ancient times to the present made Lin Moyu wary. The ancient era was incredibly powerful, a brilliant time when beings at the other shore realm were common, and not only humans but also various other races were strong. At that time, this palace might not have been much, but in the present, it was definitely a lethal weapon. However, Lin Moyu also noticed that many parts of the palace seemed to have been repaired. He immediately realized that this palace must have been on the battlefield and had experienced great battles. It had been damaged in those battles and later repaired. From the repair marks, it was clear that the repair methods were quite crude. As a result, the combat power of this palace compared to its prime was uncertain. At least in Lin Moyu's view, the threat level had significantly decreased.
Since you're here, let's see if you can fight. Copper Lizard King, I hope you don't disappoint me.
Lin Moyu spoke softly, slowly stood up, walked out of the warship, and put it away. Originally, he just wanted to leave, but then he turned back to kill. Now, he wanted to use the Copper Lizard King to test his strength. He wanted to see how strong he had become and whether he could fight against someone at the other shore realm without using corpse explosion. Compared to the White Star in the Starfire clan, the Copper Lizard King would undoubtedly be stronger. The white star had the power of the other shore realm but was like a target, easily manipulated by him. The Copper Lizard King was different. He would fight back, flee if he couldn't win, and even fight desperately. This was a true other shore realm opponent. The Lizard Palace stopped 10,000 kilometers away, and the Copper Lizard King flew out, looking at Lin Moyu with murderous intent. He was about 10 meters tall, taller than other Copper Lizard clan members, with a very burly physique. His body was covered in thick bronze scales, emitting a golden glow, indicating that these scales had incredible defense. The Copper Lizard King hadn't deliberately trained his body, but his physical strength was clearly superior to humans of the same realm. An other shore realm Copper Lizard King should have a body comparable to a god sovereign. Lin Moyu felt that, in terms of physical strength, the Copper Lizard King was not weaker than himself.
You are Lin Moyu.
Lin Moyu remained calm.
Are you the Copper Lizard King?
The Copper Lizard King said in a deep voice,
For 100,000 years, my Copper Lizard clan has not waged war against your human race. Are you declaring war?
Lin Moyu laughed.
What's the point of asking now that it's done? Hatred doesn't fade with time. It only grows stronger. Moreover, do you have the strength to challenge my human race now? Back then, you were like dogs, lucky not to be wiped out. This time, you might not be so lucky.
The Copper Lizard King laughed angrily, his voice growing colder.
Perhaps we are not as strong as your human race, but killing you is enough.
Lin Moyu laughed heartily.
And after you kill me? Aren't you afraid of human retaliation? But I can give you a way out. Kill me, then flee with your entire clan, escape to the outer regions, or seek refuge with the demon clan. Maybe then you can avoid disaster.
The Copper Lizard King's face changed dramatically. He hadn't considered this. What would happen after killing Lin Moyu? What would they do? They couldn't withstand human retaliation. He now regretted not letting Lin Moyu go a few days ago. Perhaps things wouldn't have escalated to this point. Lin Moyu smiled.
But it's too late to say this now. You only have two paths. One is to kill me and then flee with your entire clan. The other is to flee with your entire clan now, but how many can escape depends on your luck.
What he called two paths was essentially one path. Lin Moyu had made it clear that he wouldn't spare the Copper Lizard clan, whether they killed him or not. The Copper Lizard King wasn't smart, but he wasn't that foolish.
You seek death.
The Copper Lizard King roared, raising his thick arm and swinging it at Lin Moyu. Behind him, a giant golden club flew out, smashing towards Lin Moyu with his movement. In the void, a giant club, tens of thousands of meters long, appeared, smashing down like a mountain. Where the club passed, the galaxy shattered, and space broke like tofu. Lin Moyu smiled slightly.
Now that's more like it.
He lifted his foot, and in an instant, he appeared in the starry sky 10,000 kilometers away. Where he had been, a cloud of mist flashed. The bone hell remained in place, shattered by the Copper Lizard King's club. As the bone hell shattered, it completed its mission. An invisible mark fell on the Copper Lizard King, and Lin Moyu completed the soul lock.
Let's begin.
Lin Moyu pointed, and the undying flames exploded in the starry sky, revealing 5 skeleton thrones. 5 skeleton kings rose together, and the thrones transformed into 5 bone swords. Original spell, Strong Soldiers. A peculiar aura rose from Lin Moyu, and at that moment, the attack power of the entire undead army increased significantly. The Copper Lizard King's pupils shrank, and he let out a strange cry.
Original spell.
Lin Moyu ignored him. 500 drops of the water of myriad colors flew out, and 5 million units of the power of belief burned fiercely, causing the Skeleton King's aura to surge. The Copper Lizard King cried out again.
The water of myriad colors. The power of belief. How can you have so much water of myriad colors?
He had never obtained the water of myriad colors, but he knew of its existence. Even among strong races, the water of myriad colors was extremely precious. Generally, Saint Sovereigns used only 3 to 5 drops at a time. Those at the other shore realm used it for cultivation and were reluctant to use it in battle. But Lin Moyu used hundreds of drops without hesitation, treating the water of myriad colors as if it were nothing. Compared to the water of myriad colors, burning some power of belief was more acceptable to him. The Skeleton King's aura reached the half-step other shore level, and their rule power became extremely strong. In this state, even the Copper Lizard King had to take them seriously. God-slaying sword. The 5 Skeleton Kings moved in unison, swinging their swords. The Copper Lizard King's eyes narrowed, and a sense of danger surged through his soul. Rule power erupted, enveloping his entire body. The sword light exploded on him, and the Copper Lizard King let out a scream. His sturdy scales shattered under the sword light, and numerous wounds appeared on his body. However, Lin Moyu could see that these wounds were superficial and not serious. The Copper Lizard King had blocked the god-slaying sword, suffering only superficial wounds, but he looked quite miserable, covered in blood.
You can actually hurt me.
The Copper Lizard King's voice was filled with disbelief. A second-stage god sovereign could actually injure him. If he hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. The killing intent in his eyes grew stronger, and he was even more determined to kill Lin Moyu. If he didn't kill him now, he might never get another chance. He formed a peculiar seal with his hands, and rule power surged, enveloping the starry sky. The giant club shone with brilliant golden light, multiplying into 10, then 100, and in an instant millions of identical clubs appeared in the starry sky. 10,000 clubs break. With a light shout, millions of clubs appeared around Lin Moyu, smashing towards him from all directions. 2050. Chapter 2050. My spell is stronger than the Heavenly Sovereign's inheritance. The clubs sealed off the space, turning the entire area into a quagmire, making it difficult for Lin Moyu to move. Not only was the space sealed, but even his soul was locked. Seemed Lin Moyu had no escape. The wings of the undead spread out with a swish, instantly cutting off the soul lock. Then Lin Moyu took a step forward, disappearing into the starry sky. The clubs fell, hitting nothing but air. The space where Lin Moyu had been was smashed into a pulp, but there was no trace of him. The Copper Lizard King was stunned on the spot, unable to believe that Lin Moyu had evaded his attack. His soul lock and space seal were both easily broken. While he was in a daze, a gigantic fist appeared above his head. An ancient talisman punch, enhanced by 10 drops of the water of myriad colors and 100,000 units of the power of belief. At the same time, Lin Moyu began his second original spell, Power Gathering. At this moment, Lin Moyu's realm reached the 9th stage of the God-Sovereign realm, with immense soul power injected into it. The ancient talisman punch broke through the boundary between the God-Sovereign and the other shore, reaching its limit. The giant fist flew towards the Copper Lizard King, the ancient talisman on it shining brightly, firmly locking onto him. The offense and defense switched in an instant, and the Copper Lizard King's face changed dramatically. He reached out, and a golden club appeared in his hand, smashing towards the ancient talisman punch.
Golden lizard breaks the sky.
The Copper Lizard King shone brilliantly, fully unleashing the power of the other shore realm. The starry sky shattered layer by layer, the momentum extremely terrifying. The power of rules surged madly, and the club instantly expanded 100-fold, 1,000-fold, like a galaxy falling. In comparison, the ancient talisman punch seemed insignificant, like an ant trying to shake a tree. Lin Moyu remained calm, the soul-slaying sword appearing above his head. He injected all his soul power into it, along with 100 drops of the water of myriad colors and 1,000,000 units of the power of belief. The soul-slaying sword emitted a hazy glow, flashing in the starry sky and disappearing in an instant. The soul-slaying sword struck first, faster and more fierce. Before the club could fall, the Copper Lizard King's soul was suddenly attacked. The soul-slaying sword tore through his soul defense like a hot knife through butter, piercing his soul. The Copper Lizard King let out an earth-shattering scream, his aura becoming extremely chaotic. The power of rules exploded in the starry sky like chaotic fireworks, beautiful yet rotten. The spell was interrupted, the power of the club greatly weakened. The ancient talisman punch, seemingly weak, pierced through the shadow of the club and landed heavily on the Copper Lizard King. Another scream, and the Copper Lizard King's scales shattered, flesh flying. The Copper Lizard King was blasted away by the ancient talisman punch, flying at the speed of light, disappearing millions of kilometers away in an instant. At this moment, countless invisible white mists emerged from above Lin Moyu's head, emitting a dragon's roar that only he could hear.
Explosive luck technique.
Luck transformed into a dragon. Lin Moyu elevated his luck to the extreme, and at the same time, an invisible force fell on the Copper Lizard King.
Luck value 45, green.
Lin Moyu snorted coldly, and the Copper Lizard King's luck quickly dropped, instantly falling to 20, turning into gray luck. The Copper Lizard King, injured both in soul and body, suddenly felt as if something was missing, but he couldn't tell what it was. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers and shouted lightly,
Explode!
Boom! The Copper Lizard King seemed to hear an explosion, a sound from a mysterious world, with no discernible source. He felt as if he was being attacked by an invisible force, but he couldn't understand where it came from. His scales shattered silently, and large wounds appeared on his body, blood gushing out, staining the starry sky. Then came intense pain, originating from his soul. The Copper Lizard King realized that the damage to his body was actually from his soul. The explosion didn't affect his body but his soul. With his soul severely injured, the damage manifested on his body. He was terrified.
What kind of method is this? How can it be so terrifying?
Whether it was the soul-slaying sword or the ancient talisman punch, he could understand them. But this last attack was beyond his comprehension, too bizarre. Fear appeared in his heart, and terror flickered in his eyes as he looked at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu felt slightly disappointed. He had used all his methods, launching 3 rounds of attacks in perfect succession, yet he still couldn't kill the Copper Lizard King, only severely injuring him.
The other shore realm is indeed hard to kill. His soul is protected by a treasure, offsetting most of the soul-slaying sword's attack. His scales are incredibly strong, also offsetting most of the ancient talisman punch's attack. Only the explosive luck technique, which can't be defended against, posed a significant threat to him. Unfortunately, my realm is not high enough. The explosive luck technique's damage depends on the difference in luck and realm between the two parties. The gap between our realms is too large, reducing the explosive luck technique's damage by at least half, if not more.
Through this battle, Lin Moyu realized some shortcomings. The explosive luck technique was still slightly inferior to corpse explosion. Corpse explosion, as long as there were materials, could ignore the realm gap. Even if he was only at the super god level, as long as he had a corpse at the other shore realm and could lock onto it, he could blow up another at the other shore realm. But the explosive luck technique couldn't do that. Lin Moyu realized that his spells were truly heaven-defying, even surpassing the inheritance of ancient heavenly sovereigns. The Copper Lizard King suddenly turned and flew towards his palace. He wanted to escape. At this moment, he was severely injured, bleeding in the starry sky, his soul gravely wounded. Though not fatal, his combat power was less than 30% of his peak. Soul injuries were the most troublesome, especially severe ones. The Copper Lizard King didn't know if he could recover to his peak. He both hated and feared Lin Moyu. If Lin Moyu launched another round of attacks like before, he would surely die. As someone at the other shore realm, he cherished his life. So his first reaction was not to fight Lin Moyu to the death but to escape. As long as he could get into his palace, he would be safe. He was only 1,000,000 kilometers away from his palace, a distance that was just a step for him. Lin Moyu had anticipated this.
Trying to escape? You have no chance.
Countless white lights flickered in the starry sky, and countless skeletons, white as jade, appeared. The number of skeletons made the Copper Lizard King's scalp tingle.
Millions?
Far more than that, at least over 1 billion. Looking around, the entire starry sky was filled with skeletons, completely covering the palace. All he could see were skeletons, nothing else. The undead army had completely surrounded the Copper Lizard King, layer upon layer. Lin Moyu's idea was simple: wear him down to death, and it wouldn't take long. Once his soul power recovered a bit, he could use the soul-slaying sword again. If one sword wasn't enough, then a few more would do.
Trying to trap me? Impossible!
The Copper Lizard King roared, swinging his club to forcefully create a path. The palace also activated, smashing through the skeletons and flying towards the Copper Lizard King. The palace was not only a flying treasure but also an extremely powerful combat treasure. In ancient times, it had once dominated the battlefield. The formations outside the palace glowed, shooting countless golden lightning bolts, turning itself into a sea of lightning. One Death Dragon Knight Legion after another appeared in the starry sky, launching fierce attacks on the palace, preventing it from reaching the Copper Lizard King. The Death Dragon Knights fought fearlessly, blocking the palace at all costs. Each strike from the Copper Lizard King could kill tens of thousands of skeleton generals. The skeleton generals continuously collapsed and quickly revived, not retreating a single step. 2051. Chapter 2051. Let's see who's faster. The distance between the Copper Lizard King and his palace wasn't far, but with the interference of the undead army, this distance became an insurmountable chasm. The Skeleton King charged towards the palace, and the 10,000-meter-tall Skeleton King swung its bone sword, slashing at the palace. The palace's formation flickered, blocking the Skeleton King's attack. Lin Moyu roughly judged the palace's combat power. Without anyone controlling it, the palace was stronger than a god sovereign but weaker than the Copper Lizard King at the other shore realm. Could be considered the weakest at the other shore realm. If compared, it was equivalent to Zhu Qiwu's warship. It was far inferior to the human race's war god fortress. As time passed, with the continuous infusion of power from the World Tree, Lin Moyu's soul power had partially recovered in just a minute. 100 drops of the water of myriad colors flew out, and at the same time, 1 million units of the power of belief burned. The undead army spared no expense, and neither did Lin Moyu. The soul-slaying sword flashed with a hazy glow and disappeared into the starry sky in the next second. The Copper Lizard King's scream echoed through the starry sky again, his soul once again severely injured. However, he still didn't die. The vitality of the other shore realm was extremely strong. Lin Moyu didn't know what treasure was in the Copper Lizard King's soul, but from the feedback of the soul-slaying sword, it was clear that the sword had been countered, and this attack was not very effective. Killing the Copper Lizard King wasn't difficult. The difficulty lay in Lin Moyu not wanting to use his trump card.
With my current strength, killing someone at the other shore realm is still somewhat challenging. But it's not impossible. It just requires a lot of time or a small price.
Lin Moyu's eyes revealed killing intent, and a peculiar aura emanated from him. Original spell, Power Gathering. The original spell was activated again, and this time even more frantically. Lin Moyu spared no expense in gathering the power of the undead army to enhance himself, breaking through to the 9th stage of the God Sovereign realm in the blink of an eye, and then continuing to charge upwards. Finally, he felt himself touch the other shore realm. It was a wonderful feeling, as if he understood everything and comprehended everything. He realized that this was the opportunity for a god sovereign to break through to the other shore realm. Countless peak god sovereigns were trapped in the god sovereign realm for life because they couldn't grasp this opportunity. In simpler terms, they hadn't yet comprehended it. Lin Moyu tried hard to remember this feeling, not to forget it. In the next second, his body shattered, and his soul collapsed. The power gathering exceeded the limit, and his soul couldn't bear it. The Copper Lizard King was stunned again. In his perception, Lin Moyu's aura suddenly disappeared. He didn't know what had happened, but Lin Moyu's aura had just vanished. But less than half a second later, Lin Moyu's aura reappeared. Due to the layers of undead army surrounding him, the Copper Lizard King couldn't see what had happened to Lin Moyu, but he was sure that something must have happened. Lin Moyu was reborn in purple light, all his states restored to their peak. Lin Moyu locked onto the Copper Lizard King again and used power gathering for the third time. His realm quickly rose to the 9th stage of the God-Sovereign realm, and the soul-slaying sword appeared above his head, with the water of myriad colors and the power of belief ready. The Copper Lizard King suddenly felt a chilling sensation, with constant warnings from his soul. The soul of the other shore realm could sense danger, and he realized that a deadly danger was approaching. The Copper Lizard King's eyes changed, and a fist-sized object appeared in his hand. This object looked like a mix of gold and copper, with liquid seemingly flowing inside. The Copper Lizard King put this gold-copper object into his mouth, and his sharp teeth crushed it. The liquid inside flowed out and entered his body. The Copper Lizard King's injuries healed at an astonishing speed, and in an instant, he was fully recovered. Then his body began to swell and his aura surged. His power rapidly increased, surpassing his peak and climbing to a higher level. The Copper Lizard King's body reached 1,000 meters, and behind him, a bronze sun slowly rose, with the power of rules surging in the starry sky. Under the sunlight, the skeleton generals melted like snow. Lin Moyu's pupils contracted.
A rule world, a saint sovereign.
Lin Moyu immediately recognized that this bronze sun was a rule world. The Copper Lizard King had somehow forcibly elevated himself to the Saint Sovereign level. However, Lin Moyu also sensed that the Copper Lizard King's power was unstable, clearly unable to maintain this state for long. But a Saint Sovereign was still a Saint Sovereign. Even if it could only be maintained for a few minutes, it was enough to kill him. Under the power of the rule world, the undead army quickly collapsed. The Copper Lizard King's angry voice echoed.
Lin Moyu, I will kill you.
Lin Moyu snorted coldly.
Try it.
The soul-slaying sword flashed and attacked, but the Copper Lizard King only grunted. The soul-slaying sword had no effect, and Lin Moyu felt the power of rules protecting the Copper Lizard King's soul. The Copper Lizard King swung his club, and even before it reached, the starry sky was already shattered. Under the sunlight, the club broke through the void, and the undead army completely collapsed. With no more interference from the undead army, the Copper Lizard King locked onto Lin Moyu and swung his club again. A rune above Lin Moyu's head activated, and he disappeared. The 3-light talisman activated, and Lin Moyu moved away at a speed of 27 million kilometers per second. The Copper Lizard King had elevated himself to the Saint Sovereign level using a secret method, and in this state, Lin Moyu was no match. Fight to the death? Lin Moyu wasn't that foolish. Avoiding the edge was the right choice. Lin Moyu knew very well that this secret method must have a price. Once the secret method ended, he could come back and kill the Copper Lizard King. The Copper Lizard King roared.
Where are you running?
He chased after Lin Moyu. The sun behind him shone, shooting out countless rays, one of which locked onto Lin Moyu. No matter how fast Lin Moyu was, this ray wouldn't break. Even with the wings of the undead, he couldn't cut it off. Lin Moyu sped ahead, while the Copper Lizard King chased madly behind.
Let's see who's faster.
Lin Moyu wasn't worried at all. With the 3-light talisman, even a Saint Sovereign might not be faster than him. The Copper Lizard King's palace finally broke through the encirclement and followed closely behind. Lin Moyu was fast, and so was the Copper Lizard King. But the more the Copper Lizard King chased, the more shocked he became. Lin Moyu's speed was astonishing, not slower than his own. He initially thought Lin Moyu was using some secret method, but later realized that wasn't the case. Strong in combat, fast in speed, able to fight when he wanted and leave when he wanted, no one could stop him.
This is a monster.
The Copper Lizard King's shock grew, and unknowingly, his anger at wanting to kill Lin Moyu began to fade, and reason returned. He knew his situation. The Saint Sovereign state couldn't be maintained for long, and once it ended, he would be weak for a long time. The Copper Lizard King wasn't stupid. He knew that if he couldn't kill Lin Moyu, he would be the one to die. After chasing for a few minutes, he realized he couldn't catch Lin Moyu. He suddenly stopped and turned back. The palace flew over, and the Copper Lizard King entered it, piloting it to leave. With someone controlling the palace, its speed increased dramatically.
Escaping? It's not that easy.
Lin Moyu quickly chased after him. Having fought to this point, how could he let the Copper Lizard King go? The principle of not chasing a cornered enemy didn't apply here. Lin Moyu believed in another saying,
Remove the weeds and eliminate the roots, or they will grow again with the spring breeze.
2052. Chapter 2052. I'm more interested in saving people. The Copper Lizard King's palace was incredibly fast, and Lin Moyu had to exert all his strength just to keep up. This palace had once been a very powerful war fortress. Although it was damaged, its speed seemed to be unaffected. The palace flew past one star system after another, and Lin Moyu could feel the Copper Lizard King's aura weakening. The time for the secret technique was up, and the aftereffects were appearing. The Copper Lizard King's condition was rapidly deteriorating, falling from the Saint Sovereign level to the edge of the other shore realm, just one step away from falling out of the other shore realm entirely. In this state, Lin Moyu was confident he could kill him. The palace wasn't flying towards the center of the Copper Lizard clan but was heading out of the star domain. Lin Moyu naturally understood the Copper Lizard King's intention and knew this was the correct choice. The Copper Lizard King planned to completely abandon the Copper Lizard clan to save his own life. In fact, as long as he was alive, the Copper Lizard clan wouldn't be truly extinct. Lin Moyu wouldn't let him go, even if he had to chase him to the ends of the earth. Lin Moyu didn't believe he could keep running forever. The Copper Lizard King's aura was still weakening. As long as he kept chasing, the Copper Lizard King wouldn't have a chance to recover. His condition would only get worse, and he would eventually be caught. The starry sky receded, and half a day later, they were about to leave the Copper Lizard clan's star domain. Suddenly, a massive aura appeared ahead, and a team flew towards them from the distance. This team was bathed in white light, and above them, a giant white horse, 10,000 meters tall, appeared. The white horse had wings that spread out and gently flapped in the starry sky.
The Pegasus clan.
Lin Moyu squinted his eyes.
It seems I underestimated him. He wasn't running aimlessly. He was going to find reinforcements.
Lin Moyu had known about the alliance between the Copper Lizard clan and the Pegasus clan for a long time. It seemed the Copper Lizard King had notified the Pegasus clan before making his move. Now that he was defeated, he sought their help. To have cultivated to the other shore realm, the Copper Lizard King was clearly not stupid and knew to leave a backup plan. From the aura of the Pegasus clan's team, Lin Moyu sensed the presence of an other shore realm expert. He knew it was the Pegasus clan's leader. With him here, it would be much more difficult to kill the Copper Lizard King. But giving up now, Lin Moyu felt a bit unwilling. If he used his trump card, he could naturally kill them all. However, using it against two other shore realm experts seemed a bit wasteful.
Lin boy, are you in a bit of a bind?
A voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Lin Moyu immediately laughed.
Killing Saint Sovereign, you finally decided to show up.
The Killing Saint Sovereign laughed.
Don't try to trick me. I don't believe you knew I was here all along.
Lin Moyu indeed didn't know. Although his soul was sensitive, the Killing Saint Sovereign's rule represented concealment and invisibility. Whether it was his aura, form, or soul fluctuations, he could hide them perfectly. Unless he made a move, even Lin Moyu would find it hard to detect him. Moreover, among the Saint Sovereigns, the only one who would call him
Lin boy
was the Killing Saint Sovereign. Lin Moyu admitted openly,
You hid so well, how could I have discovered you?
The Killing Saint Sovereign asked curiously.
Then how did you know I was here?
Lin Moyu laughed.
I didn't know. I was just guessing.
The Killing Saint Sovereign snorted.
You little rascal, you were trying to trick me.
Lin Moyu said.
Not really. I just thought that someone as wise as you wouldn't act rashly. You would definitely observe first, right? So I boldly guessed that you had arrived early and were just waiting to see if I could handle it. When you saw that I couldn't, you decided to come out and see if you could help.
The Killing Saint Sovereign seemed pleased.
That's more like it. All right, do you need me to kill him for you now?
Lin Moyu said.
That would be great. I'll trouble you, Senior. Piece of cake.
The Killing Saint Sovereign's voice faded away. Lin Moyu knew he had already taken action. Amidst the interplay of light and shadow, a faint figure seemed to appear outside the palace and then slipped inside. Where there were shadows, the Killing Saint Sovereign could complete his stealth. This was the Killing Saint Sovereign's greatest strength. In the art of assassination, no one could compare. Just a few seconds later, a scream came from the palace, which suddenly stopped in its rapid flight. Then the Killing Saint Sovereign flew out, carrying a corpse. The Copper Lizard King was already dead, with a large hole in his head, clearly killed by a single strike from the Killing Saint Sovereign. At this moment, the Pegasus clan was still tens of millions of kilometers away. The Killing Saint Sovereign threw the Copper Lizard King's corpse to Lin Moyu and then flew towards the Pegasus clan. Behind him, black mist rose, forming a stark contrast with the white light of the Pegasus clan. The Killing Saint Sovereign's aura was very faint. Although he was a Saint Sovereign, he felt no different from a God Sovereign. His ability to hide his aura far surpassed that of other Saint Sovereigns. The black mist collided with the white light of the Pegasus clan, but there was no earth-shattering scene. The black mist silently infiltrated the white light. Immediately, panicked voices came from the Pegasus clan's team. The advancing team suddenly stopped and then began to retreat, quickly moving away. Lin Moyu knew that the Pegasus clan's other shore realm leader must have sensed the presence of the Killing Saint Sovereign. Facing a Saint Sovereign, he had no choice but to flee. The Killing Saint Sovereign didn't pursue but returned to Lin Moyu's side.
A bunch of cowards. They don't even have the courage to fight back.
Lin Moyu laughed.
They're not stupid. Facing an unbeatable opponent, of course, they choose to flee.
The Killing Saint Sovereign snorted.
What about you?
Lin Moyu said.
I'm a bit foolish. I like to challenge strong opponents, unless I really can't win.
The Killing Saint Sovereign looked Lin Moyu up and down.
I can see that. A second stage God Sovereign daring to challenge the other shore realm, you do have guts.
Lin Moyu didn't refute. His courage was based on his strength, and he was well aware of his own capabilities. Moreover, he had trump cards, so he didn't worry about safety. The Killing Saint Sovereign asked,
What are you going to do next? I'd like to trouble you to make another trip and notify the seniors in the clan to come and take all the Copper Lizard clan's resources back.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu waved his hand and stored the Copper Lizard King's corpse. An other shore realm corpse was excellent material for weapons. It could be used for corpse explosion or resurrected to become an other shore realm fighter. The Killing Saint Sovereign frowned.
The Copper Lizard clan may not be a strong race, but they have over 500 star systems. Are you planning to kill them all?
Lin Moyu sensed for a moment.
I've already killed about a third. By the time the seniors arrive, I estimate half will be dead.
He spoke calmly, as if the slaughter was nothing significant. Killing a third meant nearly 200 star systems had been wiped out. For the Copper Lizard clan, this meant hundreds of billions of lives lost. Lin Moyu treated it as a trivial matter. His heavy killing intent even made the Killing Saint Sovereign a bit uneasy. He knew that killing countless people wasn't terrifying. What was truly terrifying was someone like Lin Moyu, who treated killing as nothing. Fortunately, Lin Moyu was part of the human race. Otherwise, it would be a headache. The Killing Saint Sovereign couldn't help but say,
I might as well give you my name.
Lin Moyu laughed.
Please don't say that. I'm not interested in killing. I'm more interested in saving people.
2053 Chapter 2053 The Foolish Race of Yuchin, Rest in Peace. The Killing Saint Sovereign left, going back to call for reinforcements. Before leaving, he looked at Lin Moyu with a very disdainful expression for a full 3 seconds. The look clearly said,
You claim you don't like killing, But even a ghost wouldn't believe that.
But Lin Moyu knew he was telling the truth. In his eyes, it might look like killing on the surface, but in reality, he was saving people, saving the entire human race. The great world had too much karma. If these alien races weren't exterminated, the hope for the great world was slim. Otherwise, everyone would die together. If the human race wanted to survive, they had to kill them first and cut off the karma. This action against the Copper Lizard clan also confirmed Lin Moyu's guess. When he killed them all and eradicated the roots, he also cut off the karma. The karma he bore was minimal, almost negligible. The slight karma that remained was because he hadn't killed thoroughly enough. So now he had changed his strategy. He divided his forces specifically to intercept and kill those who escaped, ensuring a thorough kill and cutting off the karma. Lin Moyu had been exploring how to resolve the crisis facing the Great World. The Great World was a difficult problem, very hard to solve, but he had no choice. In the starry sky, the Golden Lizard Palace of the Copper Lizard King stood alone. With the Copper Lizard King dead, it became an ownerless object. Lin Moyu flew inside, trying to see if he could take it away. After all, it was a war fortress left from ancient times. Even if it couldn't be used, the materials themselves were very valuable. Like exploring a secret realm, the skeleton generals quickly explored the entire palace, forming a complete map. The Golden Lizard Palace was very large inside, with countless rooms and various areas. However, Lin Moyu didn't appreciate the living facilities of the Copper Lizard clan. Lin Moyu went directly to the center of the palace. From the layout, it was clear that this was where the Copper Lizard King usually stayed. Although the Copper Lizard King was dead, his strong presence remained here. The Copper Lizard clan had a foul smell, very unpleasant. Lin Moyu waved his hand, and the laws rolled, sweeping away all these odors. All traces of the Copper Lizard King were erased in an instant. Here, there was a small bronze-colored mountain, about 10 meters high, with a golden lizard carved on top. It looked exactly like the palace, just a smaller version. This was the control core of the palace. Lin Moyu's soul probed into it, quickly leaving a mark inside. Information flowed in, and everything about the palace appeared in Lin Moyu's mind. Lin Moyu's expression turned strange.
Lizard God War Palace, a creation of the human race.
The information clearly told Lin Moyu that this palace was made by the human race. Back then, when the human race discovered the Copper Lizard clan's world, it was being invaded by another world, and the Copper Lizard clan was retreating on the brink of collapse. Later, the human race intervened and ended the war. Not only did they reclaim the Copper Lizard clan's world, but they also didn't spare the invading world. At that time, the human race gave the Copper Lizard clan a place to live and even built the Lizard God War Palace for them. The Copper Lizard clan thus enjoyed tens of thousands of years of peace and began to grow stronger. But unexpectedly, during the invasion of the Black Blood Great World, the Copper Lizard clan betrayed the human race. They used the Lizard God War Palace, built by the human race, to massacre many human cultivators. 100,000 years ago, they attacked the human race again, causing great harm. Lin Moyu's eyes grew colder.
Such a foolish and ungrateful race indeed doesn't deserve to live in the great world. Their time is up. Rest in peace.
Lin Moyu left a soul mark on the control core, taking control of the entire Lizard God War Palace. The small mountain holding the control core emitted a rumble, revealing a rune formation on it.
A rune formation?
Lin Moyu was curious. Runes were unique to the human race. Other races couldn't use them. This rune formation was clearly also from the human race. Lin Moyu studied it for a while and roughly understood its function. The rune formation was actually a portal. Once correctly unlocked, one could enter it. The rune formation clearly led to the inside of the small mountain. Lin Moyu muttered,
"What's behind the rune formation?"
This level of rune formation was not difficult for Lin Moyu. Following the hints of the rune formation, he quickly drew a peculiar rune and then pushed it towards the formation. The rune acted like a key, unlocking the formation. The formation activated, quickly turning into a portal, and Lin Moyu stepped inside. Inside the small mountain was a not-so-large space, with another control core belonging to the human race. Lin Moyu understood that this was the backdoor left by the human race. If one day the Lizard God War Palace fell into human hands, they could use this backdoor to fully control the palace. Or rather, this was the true control core of the Lizard God War Palace. Lin Moyu reached out to touch the core, and a flood of information surged in. The information came with a strong suction, like a hungry child needing Lin Moyu's nourishment. Without hesitation, Lin Moyu sent a large amount of soul power into it while checking the incoming information. The information was vast but not as overwhelming as an inheritance, so Lin Moyu had no trouble accepting it. The information recorded the history of the Lizard God War Palace. Where it had been, what it had done, and what had happened inside the palace were all recorded. Lin Moyu saw the complete life of the Lizard God War Palace, from its battles in ancient times to its betrayal of the human race and its subsequent crippling, including the massacre of humans in various star systems 100,000 years ago. All were clearly recorded. Lin Moyu's face turned very grim. The scenes were too bloody, with dismembered bodies and flesh everywhere, making his killing intent boil. They held banquets in the palace, feasting on human flesh. Compared to the records in the human race's database, what was presented now was 100 or 1,000 times more gruesome. This was a cruel and bloodthirsty race, deserving of death. From the ancient scenes, Lin Moyu saw some things that interested him. In the hall of the Lizard God War Palace, the then leader of the Copper Lizard clan was discussing something with a person. This person wore a black robe, his face obscured, but Lin Moyu could tell he was from the Black Blood Great World. The strong man from the Black Blood Great World seemed to say something, and the eyes of the Copper Lizard clan leader became more bloodthirsty and cruel. Lin Moyu frowned.
This situation is somewhat similar to those starry sky beasts back then. At that time, the strong men from the Black Blood Great World controlled many starry sky beasts. But the Copper Lizard clan isn't a starry sky beast. Could intelligent races also be controlled?
Lin Moyu became even more wary of the Black Blood Great World. The threat from the Black Blood Great World hadn't disappeared. The influence from back then still persisted, and the karma between the two hadn't been severed. Lin Moyu had a feeling that one day in the future, he might face the Black Blood Great World again. Therefore, the more he understood them, the better. Lin Moyu began to carefully examine the core's records, analyzing the details. In the Copper Lizard clan's star domain, disasters were unfolding. Countless skeletons invaded their starry sky, leaving no survivors wherever they went. Few managed to escape. For the Copper Lizard clan, it was like a natural disaster had struck. 2054. Chapter 2054. You actually guessed it right. For the Copper Lizard clan, this was an unimaginable disaster, a catastrophe that could lead to their extinction. The undead army descended from the starry sky, bringing death. The Copper Lizard clan fought back but were defeated and then fled. However, under the encirclement of the undead army, very few could truly escape. Even if they could escape this star system, they couldn't escape the star region where the Copper Lizard clan resided. In the undead's vision, every soul was so clear, like a guiding light in the darkness, pointing towards death. In these few days, the blood of the Copper Lizard clan had filled the starry sky, and countless souls roared in the starry sky. It was just like the human race back then, those soul-shaking screams driving people mad. Finally, some managed to escape and spread the news. Various races received the news, and some sent people to investigate, only to find the star region sealed off. The killing Saint Venerate led the human army to arrive first, sealing off the space, not allowing anyone to enter. The aura of the Saint Venerate spread in the starry sky, and it wasn't just the killing Saint Venerate. There was also the battle Saint Venerate of the human race. Besides the Saint Venerates, 10 beings from the other shore realm came, and the wanton stirring of the power of rules was terrifying. With 2 Saint Venerates and 10 beings from the other shore realm present, ordinary races didn't dare to approach. Everyone knew that the Copper Lizard clan was finished. After years of peace, the human race took action again. This made the small clans, who still harbored a fluke mentality, lose their thoughts one by one. The human race had truly begun to take revenge, avenging the hatred from 10,000 years ago. Those who had once attacked the human race now had to find ways to protect themselves. Forming alliances might be one way, but it wasn't safe. The Copper Lizard clan was the best example. They had allied with the Pegasus clan and were trying to draw in other races. But now, the Copper Lizard clan was almost exterminated, and the Pegasus clan didn't dare to make a sound. The atmosphere of fear spread among the clans. The human race didn't care about these. The numerous divine venerates in the War God Hall were collecting resources with their treasures. The way they collected resources was simple and crude. They packed up planets and even stars. Since the plan was made, the human race had made thorough preparations. The artifact refiners worked day and night, creating numerous treasures that could contain planets. And just like when they exterminated the 3 clans before, they left behind a large amount of broken debris in the starry sky, creating the illusion of a destroyed star system. Revenge was one reason, and collecting resources was another. The War God Fortress moved through the starry sky, with the Battle Saint Venerate standing on top, scanning the starry sky.
This time, we were a bit hasty, exceeding our plan.
He had long made a complete plan with the Heavenly Saint Venerate, which included taking action against the Copper Lizard clan in over 200 years. They planned to take action against one race every so often, using about 100 years to exterminate the weakest races. Then it would be the turn of medium-sized races like the Copper Lizard clan. Lin Moyu's sudden action disrupted their plan. The killing Saint Venerate didn't care.
I think it's fine this way.
The Battle Saint Venerate glanced at him.
Then tell me what's good about it.
The killing Saint Venerate said.
What's good about it? It doesn't matter. I just think it's fine.
The Battle Saint Venerate was speechless. It was clear that the killing Saint Venerate didn't know. The killing Saint Venerate wasn't stupid. He just didn't like to think. What he liked to do was stab people with a knife. The killing Saint Venerate said,
You guys have always managed these things. I only care about killing. But you can talk to Lin Xiaoyu. He thinks as complicated as you guys. I really don't understand. Since you made the plan, why didn't you tell Lin Xiaoyu? Then when something unexpected happens, you say Lin Xiaoyu disrupted your plan. If you had told him, this wouldn't have happened.
The killing Saint Venerate had a very good impression of Lin Moyu and was biased towards him in his words. The Battle Saint Venerate didn't want to talk too much with this guy who only knew how to fight, so he casually said,
Even if I told you, you wouldn't understand.
The killing Saint Venerate said,
If you don't tell me, how would I understand?
The Battle Saint Venerate found that saying another word to this guy was a waste of breath. He wondered how this guy had cultivated to become a Saint Venerate. Did cultivation really not require brains? The War God Fortress flew to the side of the Lizard God War Palace but didn't enter. Around the Lizard God War Palace, a large number of undead legions were stationed, clearly not allowing anyone to approach. After waiting for half a day, the Lizard God War Palace suddenly moved, and the originally silent formation began to operate again. The Battle Saint Venerate saw this and showed some doubt.
This formation, why does it look so much like the human race's formation? Could it be that the Copper Lizard King's palace is related to our human race?
The killing Saint Venerate said,
The Copper Lizard clan is our mortal enemy. How could their palace be related to us? Are you mistaken?
The Battle Saint Venerate glared at him.
Shut up.
The killing Saint Venerate also glared at him but obediently shut his mouth. Lin Moyu appeared at the entrance of the palace, looked at the Battle Saint Venerate and the killing Saint Venerate, and with a move, he appeared in front of them.
Greetings, seniors.
The killing Saint Venerate waved his hand.
No need to be so polite. I brought the people you wanted. What's the situation with the Copper Lizard clan now?
Lin Moyu said,
More than half are gone. Currently, 324 have escaped, including 12 divine venerates. I have strengthened the defenses, and no one should be able to escape next.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu took out a star map and projected it. marking it one by one. The results were astonishing. Lin Moyu was here, but his undead legion had already killed half of the Copper Lizard clan. Moreover, as the battle progressed, the territory of the Copper Lizard clan became smaller, and the encirclement tighter. Next, the Copper Lizard clan had no chance. The battle Saint Venerate asked.
Do you need us to do anything?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Basically, no. Unless they have beings from the other shore realm.
Everyone knew that the Copper Lizard clan shouldn't have beings from the other shore realm. If they did, they would have acted by now. The battle Saint Venerate said.
I see that the Copper Lizard King's palace seems to have traces of the human race.
Lin Moyu said.
Senior, you have sharp eyes. This Lizard God War Palace was indeed made by the human race. But it wasn't made by the current human race. It was made by the human race in ancient times.
The killing Saint Venerate exclaimed, staring at the battle Saint Venerate.
You actually guessed it right.
What do you mean guessed it right? The battle Saint Venerate ignored him.
No wonder. Now it is under your control, right?
Lin Moyu nodded.
The human race left a hidden door. Through the real core, I have completely controlled this palace and also learned some things that happened in ancient times.
As he spoke, Lin Moyu handed a jade token to the battle Saint Venerate, containing the information he had obtained from the Lizard God War Palace. The information was substantial. The battle Saint Venerate glanced at it and said solemnly,
This information is very important. It seems that your accidental action has yielded some gains.
Lin Moyu smiled.
I know I disrupted the senior's plan, but I think plans can't keep up with changes. Sometimes accidents aren't a bad thing. I think after this, some small clans won't think alliances are useful anymore. To protect themselves, they should seek other ways.
The battle Saint Venerate raised an eyebrow.
Tell me your thoughts.
Lin Moyu said.
In my opinion, the various races should have multiple preparations. They will still form alliances, but after forming alliances, they will seek protection from several strong races. At the same time, they will send some of their people to leave and go to the outer regions to preserve their lives.
2055. Chapter 2055. I'll take that as your agreement. Lin Moyu shared his views and speculations. Even if several small races formed an alliance, they would still be far from being able to confront the current human race. It was already very clear that the human race intended to target the small races as the beginning of their revenge. Whether they wanted to admit it or not, the current human race was far beyond what these small races could contend with. Even if they all joined forces, it would be the same. The 10,000 years had given the human race enough time to develop. With astonishing resilience, the human race had nearly returned to its peak. After all, the human race was the original master of this world, different from other races. The small races couldn't oppose them. Even after forming alliances, they would still lean towards a few strong races. They would rely on the power of the strong races to resist the human race's revenge. The strong races would certainly help them. Even powerful races like the Demon race and the Golden Eagle race knew that it would be difficult to contend with the human race on their own. If they didn't unite, they would be defeated by the human race one by one sooner or later. As for whether there would be another massive invasion like
10,000 years ago,
where they would invade the human race's heartland again, it depended on their choices. At the same time, those small races, to preserve some retreat, would likely send some of their people to the outer regions, thus leaving a spark of their race. For any race, the continuation of their species was the primary task. Lin Moyu could roughly guess the human race's plan, which was nothing more than boiling the frog in warm water, but it actually had no real significance. The greater world was not a closed world. As long as the human race took action once or twice more, exterminating one or two more small races, the other races would react. The previous arrangements would only be useful for the first few times. It would be better to take this opportunity to exterminate one or two medium-sized races. Any existing race would eventually become a threat, so it was better to kill them first if possible. The War Saint Sovereign valued Lin Moyu's opinion and did not reject it outright. However, what he would do next was no longer related to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu left in his newly acquired Lizard God War Palace. After Lin Moyu left, the killing Saint Sovereign asked,
"So, are we going to take action or not?"
The War Saint Sovereign looked at him.
"You're itching to fight, aren't you?"
The killing Saint Sovereign grinned, showing a mouthful of white teeth.
"If we take action, I can deal with that old horse in the Pegasus race."
The War Saint Sovereign pondered.
"It's not impossible."
This time, the War God Hall dispatched thousands of God Sovereigns, enough in number. The War God Fortress was also deployed, and all the necessary war supplies were brought along. If they were to take action against the Pegasus race, it would indeed be a good opportunity. The killing Saint Sovereign said,
"Since we can, let's not hesitate. Lin Moyu is right. If we take action, we should be decisive. Besides, Lin Moyu single-handedly exterminated a race. Are we not as good as him?"
The War Saint Sovereign was somewhat speechless.
"Can you really compare like that?"
The killing Saint Sovereign said,
"I don't care. I'll take that as your agreement."
0. Qing Fei and Shui Zhilan had been waiting anxiously for the past few days. They were worried about Lin Moyu, as he was facing the Copper Lizard King, the leader of a race, stronger than a God Sovereign. That level was beyond their understanding. However, looking at the undead army protecting them, under the white glow covering the undead army, they felt somewhat reassured. The undead army had not moved, which meant Lin Moyu was fine. Suddenly, a golden light appeared in the distance, and then a huge palace flew over. The two were startled. The Lizard God War Palace looked like a lizard, very similar to the Copper Lizard race. Shui Zhilan was a bit flustered.
"What should we do?"
Qing Fei was relatively calm.
"It should be fine. The skeletons are here."
She felt that if there was any danger, the skeletons would protect them. If even the skeletons were useless, then there was no need to struggle. They could just wait for death. Under their nervous gaze, the Lizard God War Palace stopped above them, and Lin Moyu's voice came from inside.
"Junior sisters, come in."
At this moment, several skeletons carried the unconscious wounded and flew up first. Hearing Lin Moyu's voice, the two finally felt relieved. They flew into the Lizard God War Palace, and Shui Zhilan, curious, asked,
"Senior brother Lin, is this the Copper Lizard race's warship?"
Lin Moyu replied,
"This is the Copper Lizard King's palace, called the Lizard God War Palace." "The Lizard God War Palace!"
Qing Fei looked at the palace with surprise. The Copper Lizard King's palace had fallen into Lin Moyu's hands, which meant the Copper Lizard King was dead, and even his palace had become Lin Moyu's spoils of war. Qing Fei couldn't help but ask,
"What about the Copper Lizard race?"
Lin Moyu replied,
"In 2 more days, the Copper Lizard race will no longer exist."
Qing Fei's eyes lit up.
Senior brother Lin actually exterminated the Copper Lizard race.
Shui Zhilan was also excited.
Senior brother Lin single-handedly exterminated a race. If this gets out, everyone will idolize you.
Lin Moyu wasn't interested in being an idol. However, if it meant gaining more faith power, he welcomed becoming an idol. In recent days, his faith power had begun to increase. This indicated that the faith towers had begun to be set up. The human race was quick in setting up faith towers and relocating members, tasks they were already familiar with. The Lizard God War Palace sailed through the starry sky, returning to the human race. Its speed was much faster than Lin Moyu's damaged warship, and it would take only a few days to return to the human star region. Before leaving, Lin Moyu visited the War Saint Sovereign again, handing over some wounded people to him. As for the trip to the Xingho tribe, Lin Moyu told him he would explain in detail after returning to the Divine City. A few days later, when Lin Moyu left the Copper Lizard race's territory, the battle on the Copper Lizard race's side also ended. The entire race was exterminated, and from then on, the Copper Lizard race was erased from the greater world. After exterminating the Copper Lizard race and taking all their resources, the human race did not stop. The War God Fortress, carrying many God Sovereigns, traveled through deep space, heading towards the Pegasus race. Lin Moyu noticed this and couldn't help but smile. The War Saint Sovereign had ultimately adopted his suggestion. He knew the Pegasus race was also doomed. Like the Copper Lizard race, the Pegasus race had once trampled on the human race and would now face their end. The Lizard God War Palace sailed quickly through the starry sky, getting closer and closer to the human star region. Feeling the presence of the human Emperor network, Shui Zhilan and Qing Fei both sighed in relief. Lin Moyu smiled.
Junior sisters, please inform junior brother Chu and senior brother Zhuang that you are safe. They must be very worried.
The two nodded happily. This time, they had narrowly escaped death and witnessed many unimaginable things. Lin Moyu connected to the Human Emperor network and immediately received a large amount of information. Heaven Saint Sovereign.
When you have time, please inform us about the situation inside the space rift.
War Saint Sovereign.
Wu 2.0 is a bit worried about you. Come back when you're done outside and let us know you're safe.
Zhu Qiwu.
You brat, where did you go? Come back safely. Don't die outside. I don't have time to collect your body.
Zhuan Bi.
Brother Lin, are you safe?
Each message carried concern, warming Lin Moyu's heart. Lin Moyu replied to each message through the Human Emperor network, letting them know he was safe. He then used the nearest teleportation array to return to the Divine City. Now, Lin Moyu had special privileges and no longer needed to wait for the monthly warship transport. He could return to the Divine City freely. Qing Fei and Shui Zhilan also enjoyed these privileges. The Divine City was temporarily closed, but Lin Moyu used his privileges to enter the port star and teleport to the outer area. There, he met Zhuang Bai and Chu Xiong, who had been waiting for days. 2056. Chapter 2056. The mysterious master wants to save the world. In the outer region, after having a good drink with Zhuang Bai, Chu Xiong, and a few others, Lin Moyu finally left. The four of them, two couples, were enjoying their time together, and Lin Moyu, being considerate, did not want to be a third wheel. Lin Moyu quickly traversed the starry sky, reflecting on his recent experiences. This time, he entered the Xingho tribe to save people and later entered the territory of the Copper Lizard tribe. After several battles, not only did he verify his combat power, but he also changed the human race's plan. For Lin Moyu, this trip was very rewarding. Not only did he gain world crystals, but more importantly, he got closer to the mysterious master. Arrangements made millions of years ago had become reality, and Lin Moyu deeply felt the terror of that master. None of the heavenly lords he had encountered before could arrange things from ancient times to the present. The illusory mist Heavenly Lord and the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord only left inheritances, waiting for those with fate. But the mysterious master was certain that Lin Moyu would go. Of course, this also involved the Fate Heavenly Lord, but the river of fate seen by the Fate Heavenly Lord must have been vague. Lin Moyu had encountered the river of fate and knew this very well. The river of fate only provided a vague outline, and the future was constantly changing. What was seen might not necessarily happen. He didn't know how the mysterious master determined that he would definitely go. Lin Moyu could only hold this in awe. Finally, after many days, Lin Moyu returned to the Divine City. The Heavenly Lord was already waiting in the central temple, along with the Hao Heavenly Lord and Xiao Wu. When Xiao Wu saw Lin Moyu, she immediately rushed over and clung to him.
Master, you're finally back.
As Xiao Wu's master, Lin Moyu had a special bond with her, a unique affection. After being apart for a long time, this affection did not diminish at all. Lin Moyu smiled and said,
You're not a spirit anymore. You're a human now. Don't act like this.
Xiao Wu responded with an,
Oh.
And cleverly got down from Lin Moyu. During this time, she had been with the Hao Heavenly Lord, who taught her a lot. Xiao Wu had started cultivating again, and her aptitude was excellent, progressing quickly. After all, in ancient times, Xiao Wu had listened to the teachings of the Heavenly Lords many times, accumulating a deep foundation. Now that she could cultivate, it was normal for her to soar. The Heavenly Lord smiled and said,
You're finally back. It seems you experienced a lot in the space rift.
Lin Moyu's expression was somber.
Yes, behind the space rift is the Xingho tribe. The Xingho tribe?
The Heavenly Lord was slightly surprised.
Wasn't this tribe extinct long ago?
At this moment, Xiao Wu interjected.
As long as the stars don't die, the Xingho tribe will always exist. The old master said that the Xingho tribe is hard to kill.
Even the illusory mist Heavenly Lord said this, making Lin Moyu feel that the mysterious master had extraordinary means. The illusory mist Heavenly Lord found it difficult to kill the Xingho tribe, yet the mysterious master used them as pawns. Lin Moyu explained.
The Xingho tribe was not extinct but sealed and cursed. The mysterious master from ancient times used the Xingho tribe to set up a scheme, leaving some things until now.
Lin Moyu recounted his experiences to the Heavenly Lord and the How Heavenly Lord without much concealment. In the greater world, they were like his teachers, always taking care of him. Just like the teachers in the small world, Lin Moyu regarded them as family. However, Lin Moyu did not tell them that the divine path was irreparable. Generations of human Heavenly Lords had been working to repair the divine path. Suddenly telling them that the divine path was irreparable would impact their lifelong beliefs. Lin Moyu understood this, so he didn't say it. But it wasn't that he wouldn't say it. It just wasn't the right time. Eventually, he would have to tell them, but it required skill and time. The two Heavenly Lords fell into deep thought, speculating about the identity of the mysterious master. From the vast ancient data they had, the figure of the mysterious master appeared in many places. Combined with Lin Moyu's experiences, it seemed that many arrangements were indeed made by the mysterious master. Xiao Wu, seeing the two in thought, also frowned.
I seem to remember the old master mentioning a mysterious master.
Lin Moyu looked over.
Xiao Wu, tell us.
Xiao Wu frowned.
Let me think.
The central temple became quiet. Not only Lin Moyu, but the Heavenly Lord and the How Heavenly Lord were also waiting for Xiao Wu's answer. After thinking for a long time, Xiao Wu's eyes suddenly lit up.
I remember now. The old master said that a master was arranging something, seemingly to save the world. But the old master felt that this world was beyond saving. However, the old master didn't dare to oppose that master and ultimately chose to believe in part of what the master said. The old master called the Fate Heavenly Lord and asked him to check the future, which led to the decision to leave me behind. At that time, the Fate Heavenly Lord was the busiest, running around everywhere, with people constantly seeking him.
Xiao Wu didn't know much, but from her words, it was clear that the mysterious master had a status higher than the Heavenly Lords. The illusory mist Heavenly Lord had to ask the Fate Heavenly Lord for help. But the mysterious master could command, even order. In that era, the Heavenly Lords were the supreme beings. Lin Moyu couldn't figure out the identity of the mysterious master. Couldn't be a Tao Lord. If there were a Tao Lord in the greater world, the Black Blood Realm wouldn't be a threat. At that level, each step was a world of difference. All the supreme beings in the greater world combined might not be able to defeat a single Heavenly Lord. The How Heavenly Lord asked,
Do you think the mysterious master's arrangement can really save the greater world?
Lin Moyu didn't think much and directly said,
I believe him.
The How Heavenly Lord didn't ask for Lin Moyu's reasons. This answer was enough. Lin Moyu had his own thoughts. Only those who had personally experienced the mysterious master's arrangements and seen the mysterious master knew how terrifying he was. He stood at a level higher than the Heavenly Lords and saw further. In his words, it seemed to imply another layer of meaning, making Lin Moyu feel that the greater world must be saved. Not for others, but for himself, the greater world must be saved. Lin Moyu then discussed his views on the greater world and the next steps for the human race. Lin Moyu expressed his hope that nothing would be hidden from him. He knew that the Heavenly Lords didn't want him to be too involved, fearing it would affect him. But Lin Moyu felt that he needed to be involved in some things. After discussing for a while, Lin Moyu left the central temple to find Elder Yen. His worship needed repairs, and the Lizard God War Palace also awaited Elder Yan's repairs. 2057. Chapter 2057. Benefiting from the Lizard God War Palace. Upon arriving at the artifact refining area of the Divine City, Elder Yen was already waiting. Lin Moyu had sent a message to Elder Yen beforehand, and Elder Yen had indicated that he was not busy, so Lin Moyu went over. Lin Moyu knew that Elder Yen was a very busy person. Any difficult artifact refining tasks among the human race were usually handed over to Elder Yen. Elder Yen had delved deeply into the art of artifact refining and was very likely to achieve the Tao of artifact refining and reach the level of a saint. At this moment, Elder Yen seemed to be not far from becoming a saint.
Elder Yen, I'm here to trouble you again.
Lin Moyu said with a smile, very politely. Elder Yen waved his hand.
Tell me, what strange thing do you want to refine this time?
Lin Moyu replied.
This time, I don't need to refine anything. I have 2 items that need Elder Yen's help to repair.
Elder Yen frowned slightly.
What needs repairing?
Lin Moyu took out his warship and the Lizard God War Palace. The 2 treasures did not unfold but slowly rotated in Lin Moyu's palm.
Just these 2.
Elder Yen recognized the warship at first glance, as he had repaired it before. Naturally, he knew its capabilities.
It's broken to this extent. Even the spatial array is damaged. It seems you encountered a strong enemy.
Then he looked at the Lizard God War Palace, and his eyes lit up.
This is the Golden Lizard Palace of the Copper Lizard King.
Lin Moyu smiled.
Actually, it's called the Lizard God War Palace. It was refined by human artifact refiners for the Copper Lizard race in ancient times. It is actually a human artifact.
Elder Yen murmured.
No wonder. I thought it looked familiar. If it was refined by humans, there should be a hidden human core inside.
Lin Moyu immediately flattered.
Elder Yen is indeed the #1 artifact refiner of our time, with unparalleled insight. There is indeed a hidden core.
Elder Yen didn't pay attention to Lin Moyu's flattery. At this moment, he was staring at the Lizard God War Palace without blinking. The Lizard God War Palace was a masterpiece of ancient artifact refiners, and repairing it was also a learning process. Ancient artifact refiners were undoubtedly stronger than those of today. Perhaps the Lizard God War Palace was the work of a supreme artifact refiner. To Elder Yen, nothing could compare to it. Lin Moyu tentatively asked,
Elder Yen, can it be repaired?
Elder Yen immediately replied,
Of course it can. I'll take this job, and I can promise you that as long as I have the materials, I won't charge you a single cent.
Asterisco asterisco no charge. Asterisco asterisco. Lin Moyu had originally planned to spend a lot of Divine City merits, as this was an ancient artifact, and the materials needed were very precious. But unexpectedly, Elder Yen agreed to do it for free. Lin Moyu couldn't help but ask,
Does Elder Yen have any other requests? Feel free to mention them.
Elder Yen chuckled.
You're quite smart. My request is that you don't set a time limit. I want to study it thoroughly while repairing it. Of course, I know you need to go out. I can repair your warship within 3 days, also for free.
Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh. He didn't expect to benefit from the Lizard God War Palace in the end. Since Elder Yen had this request, Lin Moyu naturally agreed. Moreover, the Lizard God War Palace wasn't of much use to Lin Moyu. It was just for fun. Lin Moyu handed over his warship and the Lizard God War Palace to Elder Yen.
I'll leave it to you, Elder Yen.
He then sat down nearby, not disturbing Elder Yen. Elder Yen immediately got to work, first repairing the warship to quickly get Lin Moyu out of the way. As for the Lizard God War Palace, he wanted to repair it slowly and study it thoroughly. Lin Moyu watched and couldn't help but laugh. He could easily guess Elder Yan's thoughts. Elder Yan's excitement was too obvious, like a child who had received a gift and couldn't wait to open it. Lin Moyu naturally didn't say anything. He focused his mind on his soul. His soul was still continuously drawing the world-burning talisman, which appeared and then collapsed repeatedly. Over these days, he had drawn the world-burning talisman countless times, more than tens of thousands. But not once had he succeeded. Each time, the world-burning talisman had a flaw. It looked perfect, but there was always a problem. Even with Lin Moyu's patience, he was getting a bit anxious.
Where exactly is the problem?
Lin Moyu thought to himself. He felt that it wasn't a matter of incorrect drawing, but rather missing some key points. According to the mysterious master, once the world-burning talisman was successfully drawn, it could transform into a world-burning fire seed, meant to refine the world. Lin Moyu was very sure that he had drawn the world-burning talisman perfectly, but it just wouldn't succeed.
Where exactly is the problem?
Lin Moyu started from the beginning of drawing the talisman, checking each step.
There is no problem with the soul power. The technique is also correct. Could it be that this talisman cannot be drawn in the soul world?
Lin Moyu had a thought and raised his hand, starting to draw the world-burning talisman in reality. Soul power flowed to his fingers, using his finger as a pen and his soul as ink. 10 seconds later, a world-burning talisman appeared. The world-burning talisman was perfect, with an indescribable beauty. From a distance, it looked like a flame, constantly flickering with space and time. But in the next second, the world-burning talisman spontaneously combusted, and the flame collapsed.
Failed again. What is missing?
Lin Moyu fell into deep thought. Since he started learning talismans, no talisman had stumped him. Even ancient talismans were only beyond his reach due to his insufficient level. Once he reached the required level, ancient talismans were no longer a problem. But the world-burning talisman had genuinely stumped him. This talisman seemed simple compared to ancient talismans. But no matter how he drew it, he couldn't succeed.
The problem isn't in the drawing process, nor in the soul power, nor is it related to the soul world or the real world. Then where is the problem?
A peculiar aura rose from Lin Moyu. His luck surged, white mist swirled around his head, and the sound of dragon roars echoed. Raising his luck to the highest, Lin Moyu began drawing the world-burning talisman again. In desperation, Lin Moyu decided to use his luck to try to find the problem. The world-burning talisman was drawn in his soul's hand, and after 3 seconds, it collapsed again. Lin Moyu's soul slowly spoke.
It seems something is different. Previously, it lasted 1 second. This time, it lasted 3 seconds. Is it because of good luck?
Lin Moyu pondered, feeling like he had grasped something. He then drew the talisman several more times. Although they all ended in failure, each world-burning talisman lasted 3 seconds. It was an improvement from before. Lin Moyu gradually found the clue, and then a flash of insight struck his soul, and he finally understood.
The world-burning talisman is not purely a talisman. It requires external forces. There are several external forces. One is the power of disaster souls, the fundamental power for drawing the world-burning talisman. The second external force is the power of the void. I don't control the power of the void, but I have the explosive luck technique, which brings me a trace of the power of the void. The third force is the power of reality. The world-burning talisman can transform into a world-burning fire seed, so it needs a catalyst, something that can turn it into a world-burning fire seed. Let's use this.
Lin Moyu had a sudden inspiration. A gray flame, the undying flame, appeared in his soul's hand. Compared to the soul fire, Lin Moyu felt that the undying flame was more suitable. Soul power was injected into the undying flame, and the two forces merged. He began drawing the world-burning talisman again. 2058